Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barban. Let's talk football.
Man, Ravens blew it. I mean,
What a
I know
great game. What a great game. It really felt like that should have been the AFC Championship game. It was I'm really struck by how it sucks to lose like that, like how to end the game like that. But what a great game, and they're two evenly matched teams, and I feel like it didn't disappoint, but man, I'm really stuck on if the game ended in any other way, like a missed field goal or something, like a touchdown in overtime or something, like anything else, it's just it is a bit of an unsatisfying ending, like just to
I was
hit
just
him
shocked,
right in the hands.
but he's a good player.
He's a great player.
I don't expect him to drop anything.
No, he's a great
player. He had a few. That was a bad game for him.
Yeah.
But the ball getting punched out, I don't ever expect that to happen to him either.
Nope.
And just okay. So we'll start with the Ravens, I guess.
Sure.
Okay. So Jackson, I was listening to Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp on their show, and they were pointing out that he gets a lot of turnovers in the playoffs versus the regular season.
Well, and that came up in the broadcast because I think it was back-to-back playoff games where he had 2+ turnovers or something like that, like which is not good.
Yeah.
And that was really, I mean, there's obviously a few things that affected this game, but it was the turnovers were the big difference because both teams were good, both defenses looked good, both offenses were producing, but it was the turnover and the change in field position which killed the Ravens,
killed them,
which put Buffalo in a position to go ahead, and they did. And then you're playing catch up, and that's not as we've talked about all season, how if Baltimore's up, that's a position you don't want to be in because they'll just hand it to Henry and you cannot stop him in the third and fourth quarter. And they never really got to that. Like, he still had 16 carries for 84 yards, but near the end, they had to just go all Lamar Jackson in passing, right? So, which is understandable, but that's, so there's the turnovers put him in there, and that's just it's a killer.
That opening drive of the second half, I was like, oh, here we go. This is the Ravens just exerting their will. But,
great.
when you've got when you've got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen on the field, I don't think either team's ever really out of it, not until the very, very, very last play of the game.
Yeah.
And Jackson, God damn it. This is so odd to me that he has these duds. Okay. So I don't want to call it a dud, that he can get in his own way in the playoffs where he looks fantastic in the regular season. He makes no mistakes. What did he has more just as many turnovers in the postseason as he did in the regular season. Or something close to that. He just looks so ridiculously good, both passing and running, decision making, everything. Yeah. And then here he fumbles a snap, like throws. I don't know what happened on that interception, if it was him or just a misread, but there was no receiver in the area. It was just a layup catch for the defender.
No, and in the playoffs, when they always say the margin is so narrow in the NFL, like between winning and losing and good teams and bad teams. In the playoffs, it's even more narrow, and you just can't give a good team turnovers, better field position like that. And like you said, what's frustrating as a Baltimore fan, it'd be so frustrating because that's not what they look like. Like, that's not what he does. Like you said, in the regular season, like, they're really good with the ball. Like the Andrews does not drop stuff. Like, here, when you do, that's an old coaching adage, is that like when you need a play, you just go to your best player. It doesn't really matter what it is, if it's the post or an out or whatever. You just want to go to your best player. And they did that. And it was
didn't work.
It was a shallow out with your quarterback running out, and so he can run or throw, and you've got your really good tight end right there, hit him in the hands. It's just I mean, I'm projecting a little bit because there was the last time I played Ultimate Frisbee when I was at the University of Florida, I dropped like the touchdown pass in the very last game and then I never played Frisbee again. And like, that haunts me to this day. And that was a nothing Ultimate game, let alone the 2-point conversion and like the conference champion, that would be, I feel so bad for him. Like, because that is such a,
hey man, that was your AFC Divisional Round game.
It was like, that was rough.
And the crazy thing is, your two I guess 2 of your top 3 players are the ones that blew it.
Yes.
Jackson
yes.
and Andrews.
You can't do it any better than that. You got it. Like I said, it was the perfect setup at that end.
Oh, I don't even mean that. I mean the game. Jackson had 2 turnovers. Andrew inexplicably had the ball just punched right out of his hands, which I just do never expect that to happen.
No, you're right.
He also dropped more than just the game tying pass. He dropped a couple others.
Yeah, no,
and a couple other players. What is with the Ravens receivers dropping wide open passes?
Again, it was a cold game, right? But that, as we talked about with our Eagles review, it affects both teams. Like both teams had fumbles and both teams struggled with catching the ball. So, but it's really striking when your best players are the ones that can't get it done. And it's so no, but they had a chance to come back and they did, and that's what a good team does despite all that stuff. And they were, one catchable ball away from tying it up, and then that could have gone either way. So, but hats off to Buffalo. But Buffalo looked great.
Clean game.
They're very clean game. Their defense looked fantastic. It was a lot of, and I saw there was another thing on YouTube. It was just sort of a Buffalo Bills hype video of like highlights from the season. And it started with all the people picking them like to finish third in their division and stuff at the beginning of the season, because it's, the Jets had a better roster and Miami had a better roster and just more talent and stuff. And this was a great example because it was, so many different people had a catch in this game. So many different people ran the ball. And so they don't have anyone. Allen's an absolute superstar, but they don't have any other skill position where it's an absolute superstar. And and that's what Allen said that earlier. Everybody eats in this offense. And they did it. And you can win that way.
I really do think it was a blessing in disguise to get rid of Diggs.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Like the whole diva receiver demanding the ball. Get out of here. That's not a attitude about winning. That's an attitude about me. Just whatever's best for me.
A lot of receivers think they're open and want to get the ball, and rightfully so, because that's their position. That's what they do. But like, football is a big culture thing, and it's a big locker room thing. And if there's ever a problem, that it affects a lot of people. So that's so anyway, but this is the last point too about the best players. It really reminded me of some baseball stuff where, you'll have like a closer that doesn't blow a save for 21 straight times, like has given up 1 home run all season. And then in the playoffs, he blows a save and gives up 3 home runs at the bottom of the 9th or something. And you're like, you can't really get too mad at it because that's what got you there, and that's your best player, and they haven't done that all season, and that's what's supposed to happen. So it just doesn't quite feel like that with like Jackson and Andrews, because
they're judged by how it doesn't matter if he just piles on regular season MVPs and then the story about him is he can't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm sure Ravens fans are frustrated as hell. They're like, how on earth is this guy this good? And then somehow, again, it just sounds bad for the Bills fans. This was the Ravens blowing it more so than the Bills winning. Like, now, to be fair, in the postseason, mistakes are magnified because the team across from you is a good team who made it to the postseason. So can't give them this. Like, you can't give them in the regular season. The Ravens might be able to have a 3 or 4 turnover game, but if it's against, I don't know, the Panthers or the Saints or somebody, I'm picking on the South there, but they could probably get away with it, at least in some of those games. But in the playoffs, it's magnified because everyone in the playoffs is good enough that you make a mistake. Well, there's a reason they're in the playoffs. They're good enough to get here. They're likely going to capitalize on any mistake you give them. And in this game, a team like the Bills with a quarterback just as good as yours, again, that's the other weird. Like, you've got 2 MVP. They look like each other.
Yeah.
And they don't turn the ball over at all. They makes 1 penalty. Yeah. And you guys didn't do that much. Ravens only had a few penalties, so it was a clean game both sides. But you have 3 turnovers and they have 0. You actually expect to win that game. It doesn't matter if you run for 500. That's so hard to overcome.
Yeah,
like those turnovers. Almost impossible when the other team is good. That's the real glaring thing to. I don't know if you want to say it's not to worry about with Jackson, because turnovers is the one thing usually in football you can't overcome, but really not in the playoffs because that other team is really good across the field.
I think that's a really good point. You're playing it's different in the playoffs. You're playing a better team. And sometimes we see that in the regular season where you're like, oh, this team had 3 turnovers, but one, and we always point that out because that's rare, but it's really, really rare in the playoffs. So yeah, you can't do it. And you can't, he's better than that. Like he doesn't do that normally. So it's really frustrating to see the fumbles and the interception stuff, like how it went,
Yeah. Yeah. And and they needed to come back to make this game closer than it maybe even was.
It was, we'd be singing a completely different tune if someone caught the 2-point conversion that hit him in the hands, so like it was a good game. So I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was a great game. It was a great game to watch. It was great. It was, I really wish both teams could have played Kansas City to at some points or so, but it's no, I think it's a great game. I'm excited for the Buffalo Kansas City matchup. If Buffalo plays like this, I think they've got a chance to win. But it's it was hats off to Buffalo.
How many more years can this happen before the Ravens fans are thinking like, is this guy just can't do it in the playoffs?
I don't know. He's pretty good. It's really good. It's when they're on it, they're unstoppable. And it had a couple of hiccups that they were able to overcome. They had a couple of turnovers. They were able to overcome it and be in a position to tie the game at the end. And that would have felt really different going into overtime or something like that. But yeah, there's just, you were that close, and it's just hard. It's really hard.
And it's different than the one last year with KC, where inexplicably it looked like the play caller on the Ravens just departed from what was working on their offense. Here they were running the offense the way it looked like a Raven offense.
Yep.
Besides the turnovers, Henry was working. Jackson was doing the Jackson thing.
Yep.
All of it was there. They got whatever it is, 180 yards, 175 yards rushing. So it's not like they didn't rush enough. They got 415 yards total. Yeah. Again, all of that sounds like the team that was supposed to win.
Yeah.
But 3 turnovers and Josh Allen on the other side even with that little offense Buffalo put up, that's enough if you just keep handing them the ball back.
No, and you're exactly right. Like Baltimore had 416 yards, Buffalo 273. So when you see that, you'll be like, oh, Baltimore won, and then you see 3 turnovers to 0.
Yeah, and they both. I think part of the key here for Buffalo being outgained that badly, they didn't pass for very many yards, but they had 147 yards rushing, which is good. That's good to stay in there in this game.
No, and their offense looked good. Like they're even though it was only 273 yards, like some of that I think was short field stuff. So but they at no point that I thought the Buffalo offense didn't look good. So
and the defense having Milano back and having Bernard played really good. And Von Miller had a good game. Like that line, Ed Oliver.
He's always been good.
Epinesa and Rousseau. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that's one of the best defensive lines in the league. Now, the announcers always say that they're undersized. I don't think it really matters.
I mean,
they don't have a 350-pounder out there, but boy, does it not matter the way this defense plays.
Right. Undersize is relative, like 6'1", 287 listed at Oliver. Like, so he's a tank. Like
he's basically the Aaron Donald mold. He's just
a fire hydrant, and he's fast. Yeah,
he's fast. He's powerful. There are examples of tackles like that aren't huge, but boy, they're hard to handle. And he's one of them.
Yeah, no, he's shifty. So I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was fantastic. It was just really, I just can't get that taste out of my mouth how it ended. But Buffalo, listen, they earned the win, and and they're going to be in really good shape against Kansas City. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. That's going to be the later game of the 2 next week. So yeah, really good going forward.
So my last note here is Isaiah Likely is not going to last on this team. He's too good, and someone's going to pay him.
Ooh,
he's that good.
Yeah,
and I think he had a bad drop maybe here too, but as far as a athletic tight end that can do it all, kind of, I don't know, maybe he's performing the way people thought Kyle Pitts should be performing, but I don't see them. I don't know. Did they let Andrews go and keep Likely? I don't know.
He was it. This is a, let's see. This is, I think, someone who's, it really felt like it was coming out game. Like, because he looked like a difference maker on the field, which I don't know if he's let us know in the comments, Baltimore fans, how you felt about him like all season, but it really felt like this was it. came up with a lot. So because he's had, let's see, on the season,
he was a beast in the Kansas City game.
Yeah, but
I think it was him with the toe out. If he'd have just, I mean, it was just bad luck. But he's been beastly a few times this season. But I think that was the first time he jumped right off the screen.
Yeah.
But
so in 2022, he had 36 receptions. 2023, he had 40 and played in 17 games. In 2024, he played 16 games, had 42 receptions, so slightly more, 477 yards. But it feels like the last couple games, were really.
I think he's coming on. Bateman's coming on too. I expected when he came out of college, he looked like he was going to be good, and I don't think missing Flowers really mattered here. Like everybody else was. Again, this is another one where the offense eats it. He spreads the ball around. He doesn't care who's going to. It just goes to the right person. Yeah,
no, for sure. There was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different people caught passes. So that's,
But it's the pass they didn't catch, which decided the game. I really feel bad for him. He's coming back from the injury, and it's just. I feel like we're just dwelling on that. It's just shocking. It's shocking somebody that could drop the ball.
Stop talking about it, Barban. It is. It's just I can't get it out of my mind. Like, it's as a fan, like we're not super like pro, but we're professionals. Okay.
We're professional podcasters on this program.
We're professional podcasters. I want to watch a good game. That's what it was. And it's killing me that he dropped the ball. Like, I can't imagine a true Baltimore fan what they would feel like watching that. You just want to be sick, like, because
when the ball was in the air, I actually out loud in the living room, and I said, "And we're tied." Yeah, as it was in the air, and then it bounced off his hands, and I was like, "What? No, that's." I thought we were going to get like an overtime. No. I was like ready for way more football.
Yes, me too. I said that was my exact thing too. As soon as he dropped it, I said, "I can't believe this is how it's going to end."
No,
that was my first.
It was as much disbelief as that Bears ending where they just burned the clock out against the Lions, and everyone's like, that no
game over.
It must be a glitch on my TV. There's no way that's the end of the game. So I'm sure everybody in Baltimore is still thinking, did we miss the actual broadcast? There's no way that's actually how it ended. But,
man. Yeah.
All right. Well, you got to be good. You got to be good to move on, and the Bills are good enough to move on. So here we go.
Played really well. Deserved it. Spread the ball around.
Both teams deserved it. And now the Bills get their next shot at the Chiefs.
Oh, come on.
And oh boy, they can't have another one of these 13-second things. So anyways, I want to say it's a good season for the Ravens, but boy, what a dud of an ending.
Yeah.
And I guess on the other side, just to finish off, to your point, the preseason chatter, as you would say, from the media was just, the Bills lost their window. Not at all. Not at all. This is the strongest they've looked in a few years.
Yeah. It's something about, like, listen, the NFL is a personnel team, right? You need to have a difference maker, and it's a mismatch and wide receiver or running back or something like that. And that's really, that's what's going to help you win the game. But when you're super balanced and there's a lot of different people you can go to, like, and there's not necessarily a superstar there, that is hard to defend. So, because there's a lot of stuff that can work. So,
and that's a really good. The word balance is a good one.
Yeah, there. It's really balanced, and if you don't make mistakes and you have a good defense and you're really balanced, then that's that's a good recipe right there, which is what they did.
And this is the strongest the Bills' run games looked in 4 years.
Yeah, Cook looks good. Like,
really good.
He was. I don't know if he was struggling with something in the middle of the season, because he's found his stride now.
Yep. All right. Well, AFC Championship game should be a good one.
Both games are going to be good.
Yep. All right. Well, check back in on the channel. We also have the college football national championship game to cover, and we just did the Eagles and Rams game too. So. Check us out if you like it. Oh, also, if you kind of like what we're doing here, we'd appreciate if you subscribe and maybe share it around to anybody you might think would enjoy what we got going on here. All right. Catch you later.